So you guys think that liquidity trumps the interest? I mean, obviously you want to pay more
There's
for
a
the mail.
balance.
There's just
There's
a balance
there.
I don't know if it trumps it, but yeah, there's just a balance. Like, I think you should be doing all of it. And if it's 50
What
bucks,
if you can't do it? Like think of, you start out your first job, 25 years old, you're making peanuts minus the shell, right? And you have to make some, you've got student loan debt, it's hard to service this. I mean, what types of solutions you guys talk about to kind of overcome?
I always say to just do something. If you can just do 50 bucks a month, just do it.
Maybe even
the people that create a lot of wealth in this country are the people that save a little bit all the time. And that's no matter what you hear about the news, or inherit it, or sue somebody.
I've got a story a little bit.
Who won the lottery? I heard that was the way to go.
Look, both of my parents were school teachers, so you understand what that means. We never made a lot of money as a family, and my parents put away a little bit at a time, all those years, and they retired at 60. And they have over $1 million saved, and not from pensions. I mean, literally from $100 a month, forever. They are millionaires now, and because of their pensions, which we shouldn't even talk about because no one in this room is going to have a pension, but because what they saved all that time, they are millionaires, and they don't even need it because their pensions actually cover them, and Social Security. The combination of those two is actually more than they were making before. And then on top of that, they have all this money. I can't even get them to spend it. So that's the other side of the problem. Most people don't have that problem. But the lesson there is that anybody can do it. And they paid for me to go to college. So there are a couple things in there that are just hero stories. So when someone comes in and says, I just can't do it, it's not true. That's my answer. You have to stretch your life. I mean,
right. It's like I don't have time, you're not making the time.
Well, what that means is you bought too expensive of a car.
Yeah.
If you're paying rent or you bought a big house, I mean, those are your priority. You spend your money in the way that you want to spend your money. These are choices. And it's fine. If your choice is to have a more substantial lifestyle today and to work until you're 80, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, you have to make those choices for you.
I like that.
So that's kind of always my, when people come in and they say, well, I just can't do it. Well, let's review your budget and the things that you are spending your money on. And there are choices, and it's fine.
Starbucks, what's that?
Right.
Well, and it's astonishing to me how many, especially women, that I'll get in my office and they'll say, well, I cut down my manicures and pedicures only once a month. Okay, things like that.
It's just a priority.
I mean, things like that just are not important. I'm sorry, they're just not. And if that's
do it yourself.
If you want to do that one thing, then that's fine. But you're not going to go shopping and go out to eat and take trips and do everything.
You have to pick your priorities. Mm-hmm. Is it travel? Is it self-care? Is it I want the fast car? And what are your financial priorities? You have to live within your means. It's just
I'd say there's nobody that. There are some people. I think single moms have a very hard time saving. They're usually always broke. But other than that, most people can live in their means if they want to.
So there's no such thing as can't. There's won't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I like that.
Same kind of thing.
So we should talk specific.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're saying is you pay down the credit card and put some in savings. That way, if something comes up, then you go to your savings rather than putting money back on the credit card instead of going and putting all the money towards the credit card. And then, your car goes down or whatever, and then you're back spending the credit card and you're back to square one.
Exactly. And there's a reason that there's a saying cash is king. I mean, there's a reason that cash is king. You cannot do anything. I mean, say you lose your job and you have all this credit card debt and you've been putting all the money towards your credit card or in your house. There's a lot of people that want to pay off their house and then they lose their job and they have no cash.
I love that.
They have absolutely, I'm sure you talk about that a lot. So it's better to have the cash savings and say, okay, once it reaches over 5,000, whatever your cap is, over the $5,000 mark, I'm going to put that towards the house or towards the credit card or whatever it is. But you need to make sure you've got some cash so that if something happens, then you can spend it. So who cares if you're carrying a mortgage or the credit card? I mean, if you got enough cash to pay all that off in one fell swoop, then fine, pay a little bit of interest on it. People get so caught up that they have to be doing the right thing on every single little thing in their life and paying a little interest so that you have cash in the bank, I think is okay. It's not gonna be the end of the world.
If you have like liquid investments, like stocks or anything like that, that you can, if you get in a pinch, you can sell off the stocks. I mean, yeah.
And cash doesn't have to mean cash. It just means
Yeah, especially
liquid
now with
money.
the falling dollar. Heroes, baby.
Well, and I think
Kidding,
it's,
kidding.
it's important, so the emergency savings, like what we were talking about, that's the first thing that you do. And usually the rule of thumb is 3 to 6 months that you have. And I usually say do like an ING account where you make 4 or 5%. And that's your short-term money. And then you have mid-term money, which can be the cash and the stocks. Because of that, you know, I've got clients right now that are trying to pay for a wedding and their stock just took a dump last month. And now they have no idea how they're going to pay for the wedding because they can't sell the stock. Because it went down or they don't want to sell it.
Go to the courthouse.
So.
Yep. J-O-B,
Hey, that's what I
Vegas,
said.
Wedding Chapel.
That's what I said. And I also said you need to go on a honeymoon.
Smart.
That's okay.
But you need to go on that honeymoon.
Yeah, you have to go to Tahiti. But so I think it's important to, you know, have those kind of earmarked that they're short-term money, and that's emergency savings, and we usually say 3 to 6 months, and that's the first thing that you get saved up. And then you can go to your midterm money, and who knows, that midterm money could turn into buying a business someday. You know, if you keep putting money in there and you don't necessarily use it because you have your emergency savings, that could be used for who knows what, you know, get an opportunity and invest in it. And a lot of people are interested in that, especially here in the Valley, I find.
That's
A
what
lot
I
of entrepreneurs here.
And it's important to have so like you're just saying, short term, mid-term, so it's important to have goals in each of these categories. I mean, this is a personal growth thing as well as it is a financial issue. And what is it that you're out to accomplish? And I think the people in this group are more driven, probably, the people that are coming to Young Pros and that are involved in Young Pros. So
Especially at 7 a.m.
So, right. So having short-term, long-term, and then short-term, mid-term, and then long-term. And long-term should include retirement, but may include I want to own a second home one day. You know, I want to send my kids to college. I want to have kids. You know what I mean? You've got different ranges of goals, and the longer the time frame, typically the more aggressively invested you are. So that's something we probably actually won't even get into today because we're kind of talking more theory stuff. But so relating to student loans, we should cover that. Student loans are typically the lowest interest rate you're going to pay anywhere.
What if it's private?
Unless
That's what I learned.
So on the loans with the low rates that seem like we call them perma loans, you know, that are the 30-year, the 20-year loans, that's the kind of thing that I think you pay your minimums on, and at some point if you end up coming into some money or you end up doing some fabulous work where you make a bunch of money, then you can start chunking that away. But in the short term, that's just not important. But on the private loan side, the interest is still deductible, whether it's a public or a private loan. So just know that at least you're writing off the interest as long as your income is under. I think it's higher now. It's like 80 or 90. Didn't it?
What do you-
And then joint is like 130, 40.
What do you mean by write off?
For taxes, you can actually claim the interest.
It's a tax credit.
It's not a credit.
No,
It is
it's a
a-
deduction like
it's
It
mortgage
is a deduction.
interest.
Okay, so it's not,
It's
for
like
some
mortgage
reason, I'm not a
interest.
tax person. I thought you actually got it 100%.
No, it's not a
Okay,
credit.
but you deduct all the interest.
So
Interest,
when
yeah.
you'll get a statement at the end of the year with your student loan interest on it, like a 1099, kind of right? And just like you get for mortgage, 1099 for mortgage, 1099 for student loans. And if your income is under those amounts, so your AGI or just income, then you get to deduct the interest that you paid on your loans. So it's good to know that. For whatever reason, it makes people feel a little better about paying interest. But on the private loans, I mean, if your rate is, I just was dealing with someone whose private loan was like 12%, which is pretty high.